guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to do a Lori Vallows update. Of course I did one yesterday or the day before, and of course a new story came out about her, so I'm going to talk about it in this video. So let's get to it. If you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe and like it. If you want to, you don't have to. Totally fine. So in the story, they're going to refer to her as Missy Cook because she was actually incarcerated with Lori Vallows. And the reason she doesn't want her name exposed is because she's worried about her safety, which I would be too. I mean, look at Lori Vallows' record. So it is confirmed with the police that she was actually incarcerated with her at the time of her arrest. She was incarcerated because she violated parole. So she spent a little bit of time in there with Lori by herself, just the two of them in Madison County, and they actually had cells that were adjacent to each other. So the time that she was incarcerated, she says that she spoke with Chad Daybell and she spoke also with her son Colby, and there was times that she could hear the conversations when Lori didn't have her earphones in. She also showed the reporters the text messages between her and Lori, between the phone app, and what that is basically an app to where she can pay $1 and she could send text message back and forth, emails, and then she could also, Zoom, FaceTime type of thing, since, everything going on, you can't physically go to the jails. Missy Cook says that when Lori got there, she came from Hawaii and she had a bulletproof vest on. And she was actually really, really nice. And she said everybody was like, oh my gosh, is that her? Is that her? And they couldn't believe that it was her. When she met Lori, they hadn't yet found the remains of her children. So Missy Cook talks about how she thought maybe the kids were going to show up and that maybe they were at some sort of polygamous type of camp or something, or Mormon type of camp, that maybe she left the kids there while she went and did what she did with Chad in Hawaii and went about living her life. But she said she never thought that she could have hurt her kids because of how nice she was and how she interacted. That they would watch TV together, they would read books, and they would talk with each other. She says that she made it a point not to ask about her kids because she wanted to earn Lori's trust, just so that she could see if, Lori would tell her anything, which I had talked about in an earlier video. Now, Missy recalls, and I'm going to quote this as Lori saying it, "I'd been judged unfairly for one of my crimes and turned inside out for something it wasn't." It actually doesn't shock me at all that Lori would say that because she never takes blame for anything that she's ever done, and that right there kind of makes me believe this whole story of what the woman has to say, because that sounds exactly like something she would say. She also says that Lori was very upbeat, friendly, happy. She never seemed like she was heartbroken, sad, upset, anything, which is exactly how Lori was when she was flocking around Hawaii with her kids dead, buried in her new husband's yard, so I'm not surprised. Lori also tells her that she was really happy that she was moved from the Kauai jail center because it was terrible there. There was roaches, and that Madison County was really, really nice. Their food was actually really good, and she was just happy to be out of there. So again, I'm going to quote this. Missy Cook says that Lori states, "We have the death of Kobe Bryant and COVID, but no, there's me. I'm the lead story. I'm more important than all of that stuff." She knew what the main story was and she liked it. So Missy Cook says that after her court date, she would get back to the cell and say, let's turn on the news, let's turn on the news, we gotta watch it, let's see what they say about me. Because she was very worried about how she appeared during court, and Missy Cook ended up lending her some of her makeup that she had bought from the commissary, and she said that she was just super excited to be on TV, and she was excited, that she was the head honcho. She was like the main character in her own movie, which doesn't surprise me at all because look at Lori Vallows. That's how she's been to a T this whole time. She loves the spotlight. She loves everything being about her. She loves playing the victim. She's just literally in her own little world, and she's a monster. Missy Cook also says that when she met her, she was showing off her blue toenail polish and then complaining about her skin being dry, which again, no shock there. Everything's about Lori, Lori, Lori. Who cares that her kids were found dead? Talks about how when it was Lori's time for court, how she was super excited because she knew how important it was, and after court, when they were watching the news, she says, let's see what they say about me now, because You know, she went in there thinking she looked good with her hot pink lipstick that her friend gave her. And actually, Missy Cook talks about how right before how Lori came out with this hot pink lipstick on and was like, how do I look, you know, feeling really confident. And Missy was like, yeah, you look great. Ooh. Which doesn't surprise me at all, because of course she would be worried about how she looks instead of like what the actual matter is. It's like she has no reality of what's happening here. She said that every time that Chad was going to see her, she was so worried about what she looked like, and that's all she cared about. Lori met with her lawyers hours a day trying to figure out how to come up with the money for the bond. Every day she would say, are you bonding out? And Lori would say, I hope so. Lori ran her fingers down from her head, down her body, and says, we'll see if all of this is worth $1 million, which typical Lori, like she just thinks she is a smoke show. Who you are on the inside is what matters, and she is evil, pure evil. She said that every time she would talk to Chad Daybell too, she would be taking notes the whole time, and that she ended up talking to Colby for 2 days straight. And she said that the day after the arraignment, she was talking to Colby, and she said, where were you? I didn't see you. And there were just so many people, I couldn't see you in the courtroom. And he just kept saying, where's JJ and Tylee? Where's JJ and Tylee? But all she cared about was deflecting. Says that when Colby would get frustrated with her and we just want to know where they are and she wouldn't answer her, which is what she's done this whole time, no shock, she would get annoyed and basically tell him to read the scriptures. She actually told Colby at one point to read Job, which is the book in the Old Testament, and she said that he was being tested like Job and that he would understand. And she would just say, Colby, listen to me. Everybody wants to know, but it's none of their business. Says God doesn't judge me and they shouldn't judge me. She also says, the prophet told me to stay off social media, so don't even go there with me, which reminds me of the phone call that she had with Melanie Gibb that they played in court. She says she never talked to Lori about religion or anything like that at all, but she says Lori spent all her days, like her free time, reading scriptures and praying nonstop. When it was time to go, she ended up hugging Lori, and sad to see her go because she had someone to talk to. And Missy Cook ended up sending Lori a message through Getting Out, the app that I was talking about earlier. So Lori ended up responding to the text message and said, hey, how are you doing? I've been praying for you. I would love to see you. I'll try to schedule you in later today. Hopefully that will work. And since that day, she hasn't heard back from Lori at all. She thinks that she's going to turn against Chad, and as vindictive as she is, considering the fact that what she did to her kids and buried them in Chad's yard, then why wouldn't she turn on him if it would save her own self? She says that she remembers one thing that Lori said frequently, and it was, everything has a purpose. God has a plan for everyone. He will be accomplished. Which is kind of eerie because I'm going to go out on a limb here and guess that God's plan wasn't for JJ and Tylee to end up dead in Chad's yard. Call me crazy. I don't know. I don't think he planned that. So let me know what you guys think about this video. I love you so much. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you soon. Bye.